I'm Scott Hutchison. I'm the Mayor's Advisor for Cultural Economy. One of the reasons the city wanted to be a part of this is because job creation is one of the biggest efforts that the mayor has undertaken in his time in office. And so the idea that culture means so much to our city and the workers in the cultural economy mean so much and need opportunities just like any other industry. We worked with Sweet Home New Orleans to try to orchestrate a program that would really move the needle for how musicians find employment, the benefit they get from that employment as well. You know, in the mayor's office, we spend a lot of time looking at data to find out where our priorities should be. And one of the things that we've done is create a snapshot of the cultural economy. The snapshot's available on the NOLA.gov website, but one of the things that we found is that there are over 4,000 working musicians in New Orleans. And every year there are over 26,000 individual music gigs a year in New Orleans. And we know there are 26 because we count them. Every time Offbeat comes out, every time Gambit comes out, every time the Times-Picayune and NOLA.com come out, we count in WWOZ, we count those gigs and we put them in a spreadsheet, we take out duplicates, and at the end of the year we know exactly how many times, how many opportunities there were for the public to hear a musician play. And so when you look at that number, when you know that there are 32,000 people in New Orleans who make their living in culture, directly in culture, 32,000 people, you've got to look at that workforce and say, how can we invest? What can we do to grow that? And we take that very seriously. And I think what you'll see from our administration, from Mayor Landrieu, is a true investment in that. And it is part of the overall aspect of the mayor's goals to increase employment in the city. And we've seen that happen every year that we've been in office, and this is just another way to add to that.
I'm Asante Salam, and I manage outreach for the Mayor's Office of Cultural Economy.
I'm Sue Mobley, and I'm Executive Director at Sweet Home New Orleans. This is a partnership between Sweet Home and the Mayor's Office of Cultural Economy to provide a course that provides some of the basic skills that people need to manage their music business careers better. So over the length of this course, we're going to be dealing with managing your schedule and your paperwork, booking and contracts, and keeping track of your basic database, things that people really need to know to make it, period. A lot of
starter level.
Right, starter level. And
Yes.
a lot of Sweet Home's courses are geared up and down from there. So we have really specific ones that are, you know, how to do fan engagement or fan funding, which we're doing with Pledge Music. And then we have things like accessing current revenue streams, which we just ran the first course of, which was how to register with a PRO, how to do your copyrights, how to do licensing, and all of the things that people need to take advantage of the digital end of the music business. Because people in New Orleans, musicians in New Orleans, are living on live performance. And that's just not sustainable.
And we started out, Sweet Home initially started out doing emergency intervention for musicians and cultural artists like brass bands, Indian, Associated, and pleasure clubs. And they did some extensive strategic planning in the past 2 years?
2 years.
In the Mayor's Office of Cultural Economy, our focus is economic development for all aspects of art and culture. And we hadn't extensively served musicians in a professional development way, and I was convinced there was an outlet for it.
Who's
We
fantastic.
book tons of musicians in this city, and we work with Donna Santiago, who she manages the Stooges, Brass Band, and Mia Borders, and some other artists, and she's always looking for up-and-coming artists in the city. She's a former lawyer and a professor at Tulane, and an excellent music producer, like in booking musicians and finding new positions and new acts that she doesn't even represent. And so the three of us started talking, okay, what's the curriculum?
Right, what does
do we
this
need
look like?
to serve these musicians?
And so much of that was informed by Donna being able to say, people come to me and they come to me with nothing. They come to me with no press packet. They come to me with no anything. They have a CD they made at home, and
Right.
they want to be
Right.
managed and there's nothing to manage.
Right.
And so really trying to fill in those gaps for that level
Yes.
of like how do you manage yourself until there's a manager there.
Right. And how do you upgrade your brand to the extent that you need a manager? What
Right.
is the prerequisites for needing a manager? Because you might think you need a manager, but if you're not managing yourself, you have nothing to manage.
My name is Donna Santiago. I'm an entertainment attorney here in New Orleans, and I'm also part of the management team at Hyper Soul Talent, and we manage a variety of acts: Big Sam's Funky Nation, Mia Borders, Sasha Masikowski, Chris Royal and Dark Matter, work with Flow Tribe. So we've been, in this business for quite a while, and I think there's a lot of small tips that people can activate on their own without having representation that will help them advance. We want to help musicians define themselves, and one of the basic questions is, who are you? Who are you as an artist? The buyer wants to know what they're going to be getting. So in some way you're thinking about yourself as a brand, as a product. So what is your product? You're a 5-piece jazz band, you're a trad jazz trio, you're a solo singer-songwriter with an acoustic guitar. You can't be everything to everybody. You have to define what you are in order for the buyer to know what they would be getting. If you say, oh, I can do whatever you want, they may not know exactly what they want, so they'll move on and ask another group, another band, what are you? And they'll say, we're a jazz band. Oh, that's what we want a jazz band. And that presentation is what they'll purchase. So defining yourself, giving structure to what you do is really important. So a lot of artists, I think, somebody approaches them and says, oh, I'm looking for a band for, a conference, and, so what does your band do? And they're like, oh, well, we'll do whatever you need. And that is very confusing to a talent buyer. Like, the buyer really wants to know, what are you going to do? What are you going to look like? What will it sound like? And is that what their client, because the buyers are working for clients. Let's say Microsoft comes into town and the buyer is doing a cocktail reception. They don't want to say, oh, we hired a band, but we don't really know what they're going to sound like or what type of music they play. They need to know exactly what they're purchasing. I'm going to help them define, what is their sound. Let's give that a branding label. Let's come up with a tagline that you'll put on your business card. I think in our discussion, when I explain, because I do a lot of booking, when I explain why that little piece of information is really essential, I think people will get it and the light bulb will come on, and people will be better equipped to move forward with their careers.